Welcome to the dark side of BEASTwriter, DOB. You guys are part of the family. You guys know how we do it here in the dark side of BEASTwriter. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday. There is a lot to discuss when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders, especially when it comes to the injury report. A lot of times when we look at the injury report, we look at it with a grain of salt, but then oftentimes it will paint a story. If a player's injured, he's injured, and they're going to be reported on that injury report. Now, the extent of that injury also depends on the grade and the strain. We're going to go ahead and talk about that as it pertains to the Las Vegas Raiders against the New Orleans Saints as they go into this Week 8 matchup. Now, again, for everyone who has joined us today, thank you so much for doing so. And if you have yet to do so, please subscribe to the channel here in the DOB. It will do us a lot of good. It will do you a lot of good. I'm joking. It won't do you a lot of good. But you will, if you like my content, you will be able to get and stay up to date on everything that we do here in the DOB, which is football and fitness. That's what we do. And that's why the DOB logo is a little bit different from your generic football logo, because football and fitness, I bodybuild in the off season. I'm going for my pro card. And I've been doing that since 2016. So here we are. I'm an old man, by the way. All right. And here we are today. So again, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. These Pick 6 segments have been lit. And I see that not because I'm my own hype man. I am my own hype man. But at the end of the day, it really does paint a picture. We talk about injury reports painting a picture. So do these Pick 6 live streams. And that's why I'm hopping on more often, because, look, you guys are my driving force. Without you guys, I keep saying it, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. Furthermore, you guys are the ones that are going to drive the content that you want here in the DOB. And that's what's cool about this engagement, is because even though I'm a Raiders beat writer, I am self-employed, so I can choose to do how I see fit and the content that I bring to the forefront. So again, the content that I want to bring to the forefront is I want to give you guys a voice. I want to give all of you guys a voice as well, because again, when you're here, your family, and it's not a one-man wrecking crew. We are a team, right? We are a team, and we're in this together, and we're in this for the long haul and for the foreseeable future. So we're not so much interested in getting things that you otherwise wouldn't want answered, right? And so that's why when I go in these press conferences, we go ahead and talk about that. So again, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for supporting the DOB. This is my first year. If you guys are new, this is my first year covering the Las Vegas Raiders here in lovely Las Vegas, and I'm coming from the San Francisco 49ers. But if you guys knew, well, we have Niner fans in here too that still follow me because they're loyal to the BEASTwriter. But no, thank you so much. Thank you so much to my guy, Sean. Sean, you've been nothing but showing me love and support. I can't thank you enough. People have been asking, how can you guys donate to the dark side of BEASTwriter? And I keep on, we're picking up followers left and right. So this is how we do it. Not like it's like, oh my gosh, a lot of followers. I'm just saying, like, when I say left and right, relative to me, because I'm so new. So it seems like left and right. But as we continue to grow the DOB, we will do giveaways, right? So we're running these cool giveaways that we do on a weekly basis. This is not something that we just do when Christmas time rolls around or when Thanksgiving time rolls around. It's time to give because it's the end of the year. No, and I need a tax write-off. No, it's not. That's not how it is. We give all day, every day here in the DOB, and that's how I like to do things. And so again, like I said, you put your money where your mouth is, right? Like, okay, cool story, right? Like, oh yeah, you give. Like, what do you give? And like, the proof is in the pudding. I put it up there on social media for all you guys to see. This guy really does give back. So I do it all for you. It's because, like I said, I want to be in the position I am. So people wanted to know how you can donate to the channel, and you can do that if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It's in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. There is a subscribe button. Go ahead and do so if you're watching this on YouTube. And then also turn on the bell notification so you get notified. He says, haters going to hate, BEASTwriter ready to keep it real with positive vibes. Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Like, here's the thing. And I put up a tweet earlier today because as I was watching practice, GM Dave Ziegler walks onto the field and he says, hi, Ryan, how you doing? Like, he didn't have to say that. And the reason why I want to point that out is because there's a humanistic approach to it. It's not so much I was starstruck. It's not so much like I was like, oh, look at me, he said hi to me, as opposed to, XYZ. No, it's not about that. It's about painting a picture because, again, you guys aren't there. So for a GM, and I worked with some GMs, and right, I'm coming from the Niners. So I work with different GMs and different personnel executives. For him to do that when he really didn't have to, and someone say, oh, he's just being polite, he's just being a nice guy, like, I think that you got to take that, unless you're really in it, you really don't know the reason behind it. Because if he's saying this to me, what is he saying to other people, right? Like other good vibes, right? Like other nice gestures. And so I talk to a lot of different people. All right. Internally, externally, you guys get the picture. You guys know that how we do this in the DOB. And so one former exec, I'm not gonna name drop him, but anyways, a good friend of mine. He says, you know what? Like, congratulations on being a Raiders beat writer. He says, what are your thoughts on GM Dave Ziegler? And I said, man, I like this guy a lot. And he says, yeah, I heard a lot of good things about him. I think you're going to like him. So just that conversation alone, again, I don't have to explain it to you guys because, well, not you guys personally. I'm just saying the guys who hate on Twitter, but, they hating for a reason. If I wasn't doing something right, they wouldn't be hating. If there's nothing to talk about, they wouldn't be hating. If I was in the position I am, they wouldn't be hating. So again, that's just how I see it. But at the end of the day, it's like, cool story, bro. But at the end of the day, it is kind of a cool story because, like I said, it's every time I wake up, it's a privilege, not a right, to be in the position I am. And again, I wouldn't be here without all of you guys. So you really, people ask me, what's the hardest thing about being a beat writer and being in the so-called like media and the spotlight or whatever the case may be? Look, you have to have thick skin. Like people are going to come at you sideways, but let's be honest about this. They would never come at me sideways in person. They would always do it through an avatar that's not real. They would always do it through a fake profile that's not real. And so and at the end of the day, that's the way social media is. It's the nature of the beast. And it's like you're hiding behind a computer screen. And I always call them keyboard gangsters. Like it's like an AK-47 keyboard gangsters. Like all they do is type. And then when it's a real interaction, it's like, oh. And they see me at the gym, they're like, oh. And then they flip a 180. Yeah, see how that goes? Yeah, true talk, real talk. Let's keep it 100. Thank you so much for the super chat, though. I appreciate it. Dennis says, salute, Beast. What's going on? Materian says, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, welcome to the dark side. I came from the Niners. My dad was a fan of them. I saw the Raiders trounce the Vikings in the Super Bowl, and I was hooked. Hey, man, all I got to say about this is, man, thank you so much for supporting. Like I said, we have Niner fans in here. We have Raiders fans in here. We have Chiefs fans, Panthers fans. Every fan base you can think of, we have in here. Because, again, I run grades on all 32 NFL teams. And in order to formulate that analysis, I have to know what I'm talking about, right? You can't just go on and talk about the NFC South and talk about Grady Jarrett, and he's ranked as the number one interior defensive lineman in my grading system, and be like, well, no, Aaron Donald's better, which he is. But in my grading system, Grady Jarrett ranks higher. Now, is he better than Aaron Donald? Absolutely not. Where they're graded and where they're ranked is two different parameters in my grading system. So that's why I tuned out. Aaron Donald's still number one overall. I mean, he's probably arguably the best defensive player ever. Arguably, aside from Lawrence Taylor. I still got to give it to Lawrence Taylor, number 56. But we're going to talk about another 56, and that's Demario Davis, another linebacker from the New Orleans Saints who's playing at a first-team all-pro level in my grading system. He's very underrated. And that he's not a household name, kind of like Jeffrey Simmons, not a household name, kind of like Jonathan Allen, not a household name. And so when you talk about these different players and formulating that analysis, when these two teams match up, when it comes to the silver and black and whoever they play, you really got to know the dynamics. And that's why I grade every single defensive snap this year of the New Orleans Saints. I graded every single snap, believe it or not. Yeah, I have a lot of time on my hands. I really don't, but, it is what it is. So here we go. But no, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker, man. It really means a lot. And it really makes this live stream worthwhile. And like I said, all super chats and donations that get funneled back into the DOB where we run giveaways. And then also I put money aside so I can go on a road trip. So I would like to go on a road trip this year. This will definitely help toward that. Because again, if you guys like my content, if you guys are watching this, as 18 of you guys are, odds are you're going to want me to hit on this road trip so I can provide that same content that I can give you at the home games and on the Monday through Friday basis, right? So let's not get it twisted about that. And if you don't like it, then don't support me and don't watch it. But even the haters watch it because they want to know what I have to say. Otherwise, they wouldn't be watching. Materian says, Beast is the real deal. Glad he came to the nation. Hey, man, my opinion says haters make you relevant. Hey, they do. They do. And like I said, they all hide it behind a computer screen. But when push comes to shove, that's when it gets like, I'm really not pushing or shoving. But I'm just saying, just real talk. Let's keep it 100. Like, would they really say this to a person's face? No, they wouldn't. And if they did, no, they wouldn't. Beast, do you see the Raiders making any trade moves and pickups before draft deadline? Look, I talked about this with GM Dave Ziegler, how he solidified 8 draft picks in the upcoming draft. I talked about how he didn't have a 6th-round pick, which is why one of the reasons and the big reasons why they got that 6th-round pick from Jonathan Hankins. And so you have to look at the formulation of the process for the instant gratification versus long-term gains that GM Dave Ziegler is trying to go in. Now, I will say this. I don't think they're done. I do not. I don't think the Raiders are done yet in wheeling and dealing. And the reason I say that is because if you look at the way the team is formulated and how they didn't pick up any of the 3 first-round picks, fifth-year options, all of them got declined from Jonathan Abram, Cleve Farrell, of course, Josh Jacobs. When you have a new regime in place and you then you draft a running back in the 4th round and dominant Zeus White, but then you also have Josh Jacobs there, like what kind of dynamic does that set for the foreseeable future? We really don't know. I cannot tell you definitively that Josh Jacobs will or will not return because he's having a hell of a season. Now, if you follow me in the DOB based on my training camp and preseason predictions, what I say Josh Jacobs is going to go what? He's going to go off. He's going to probably outplay his way in Las Vegas. Why? Because one, the Raider way, Patriot way, winning way is not really paying running backs anyways. Not saying Josh Jacobs isn't worth it. I love Josh Jacobs, one of my favorite guys to cover, but Roll Tide, Roll fan. But what I am saying is I'll keep it 100 with you. I said this during the preseason, right? I said this during training camp. Forget that, swipe preseason. Even before preseason, I said this during training camp back in July. I said Josh Jacobs is going to rush for 1,600 yards, possibly 1,600 yards. He's going to be the focal point of that offense. Scrimmage yards wise, he's going to be up there like 1,900 scrimmage yards. He's already up to what? What is he at right now in scrimmage yards? I broke it down yesterday, but he's on pace to have 2,193 scrimmage yards. He's on pace to have over 2,000 yards this year. Isn't that crazy? I think that's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, you're entering Roger Craig territory. You're entering Christian McCaffrey in his prime territory. You're entering Alvin Kamara territory. You're entering, the guy is just a beast in his own right. And so when you look at that and then you put 2 and 2 together and say, you know what, is Josh Jacobs worth it? And we put the banner up because you guys like the banners. I like the banners too, right? So you look at the banners, right here that says Josh Jacobs, should they resign long-term? I think they should. I think they should resign Josh Jacobs long-term. I don't even think it's a question if they should resign him long-term. But look at this, right? Let's take it for what it really is. He has 633 rushing yards, just ranked 3rd in the NFL right now. He ranks 3rd in the NFL despite playing 1 less game and still has 633 rushing yards. He averages 105 yards rushing, 2nd best in the NFL, only behind Nick Chubb of the Cleveland Browns, who comes in at 105.7, which is the 0.2 of 1 point differential. When you take that into account and double down on those gains, who has the better offensive line? Cleveland Browns. Wyatt Tiller, Joel Bitonio, Jack Conklin, who I hinted at, hint, right tackle. Jack Conklin is a free agent, hint, next year, who I really like because he's fundamentally sound, tough, physical, gets everything that the Raider way is instilled upon and founded on, hint. Playing in the last year of his contract, hint. I'm just saying, Jack Conklin. They also have Jedrick Wills, Roll Tide Roll, but I'm just saying, I'm just keeping 100. They don't have J.C. Treader there, but you guys get the picture. Cleveland Browns have a better. I'm not saying the Raiders don't have a stable offensive line or a good offensive line when it comes to run blocking. They really do. All right. I think they're solidified there with Colton Miller, Dylan Parham on the left side. I think that's set for the foreseeable future. Obviously, you have Dre James in there as the interior, as the signal caller, quarterback of the offensive line, making all the line calls. I get it. But then the right side, you have Alex Bars, who's playing extremely well. And then you also have the right tackle position, which is kind of a question mark. And I think that right tackle spot, if you can solidify that right tackle spot, then you have something to work with for the foreseeable future. I'm not saying Thayer Munford is not good. I like Thayer Munford, and I like who they had, Jermaine Illuminor. I like these guys. I do like them, right? But are they on the level of a guy like Jack Conklin? No. You add Jack Conklin on one side to Colton Miller on the left side, and then you have 2 bookend tackles for the foreseeable future. That's like a Leon Searcy, all right? You want to know how old I am? Let's go back to the Jacksonville Jaguars during Tom Coughlin days. That's like Leon Searcy and Tony Baselli being the bookend tackles, all right? That's one hell of a dynamic duo, if you ask me, all right? And so, like, that's where I see this going. That's where I see this team trending. I think they need an offensive lineman who can really set the tone down in the trenches, because if Zeus White is to take over next year, he's going to need a better offensive line, because let's be honest about this. Raider Nation is going to go crazy if Zeus White doesn't at least replicate Josh Jacobs' production, at least at a 75% success rate. And if you do the math on 2193 scrimmage yards, that breaks it down to 129 scrimmage yards per game, and then 70% of that output is 90 yards per game. So if you think that Zeus White can replicate 90 yards of production today with this offensive line, being basically a rookie coming in next year because he's not getting the snap counts, he's not getting the reps, I'm not saying Zeus White's not going to be a Pro Bowl player. I think Zeus White's going to be a heck of a player. I think Zeus White's going to be a Pro Bowl player. But at the end of the day, what are you giving up when if you let Josh Jacobs go? And here's another food for thought. People are talking about Josh Jacobs getting franchise tagged. He's not going to get the franchise tag, bro. Like if they're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, why the heck would you franchise tag for more money involved? And especially when you have to make this projection that you knew he was going to be at some point the focal point of the offense. I would give him the transition tag, not the franchise tag. Franchise tag is top 5 money at the position. Transition tag is top 10 money at the position. Why not give him the top 10 money at the position? It's still at $8 million per year as opposed to giving him like $9 or $10 million per year, right? But at the end of the day, is that GM Dave Ziegler's MO? Is that his method of operation? Look, I'm not GM Dave Ziegler, but if it'd be hard for me to not re-sign a guy like Josh Jacobs, who's professional both on and off the football field, comes from a good football program, has a good head on his shoulders, not going to be an off-field distraction, right? Going to be a good community guy. Wouldn't it be worthwhile to get a team leader like Josh Jacobs and have him in the mix for the foreseeable future? That's just how I look at it. Now, again, there's only so much money to go around, so you have to allocate resources how you see fit. Also, the draft is coming up, so you have to see how that transitions and how that fits into the scouting department, because of the scouts, let's say Lenny McGill, all right? Let's say Lenny McGill, national scout, right, comes in and he says, you know what? I really like this running back out of Cal. I really like this running back out of UTEP. I think we can get him in the 4th round. And then GM says, okay, let's go ahead and get a conditional late round pick so we can kind of leverage our draft capital how we see fit on draft day. So maybe we can move up and get one of these guys in the cluster of players that we need based on the vertical board and horizontal board, and then see how they cross-check reference each other. I mean, look, you have to look at it from what it really is. I'm not saying that, like I said, I want Josh Jacobs. I'm a fan of Josh Jacobs. I want him to re-sign, but it's not up to me. It's what's actually going to be playing out. And so I was really shocked of all the 3 first-round picks that Josh Jacobs was the one that to not be given that 5th-year option. Even though he made a Pro Bowl, was kind of amplified. I just think he should have been extended, because you knew what you were getting with Josh Jacobs. You know, you knew what you were getting with Josh Jacobs. So that's all I got to say about that. Plain and simple, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Egalitarian says, too, I said, what's up, Ryan? What's going on, man? How you been? Let's see here. We got, my opinion says nice hat. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We got some comments rolling through. I'm just going to go with it. Okay. Killicali 420, 240. And I talked about this on my Aloha kickoff video when Roquan Smith basically, I don't know if he requested a trade, but it was on the trading block, whatever the case may be. I talked about how the Raiders should target Roquan Smith. However, in my grading system, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about grading system, right? Because I've been grading Roquan Smith for the last 3 years. All right, believe it or not, I got the numbers, and I got the grades. I got the games. So here we go. Let's look at Roquan Smith's numbers. All right, he's kind of tapering off a little bit this year. All right, tapering off a little bit, maybe because the contract kind of got to his head, right? He's in the contract year. He doesn't know where he's going to be playing. Is it going to be in the Windy City, or is it going to be in, I don't know, the Dallas Cowboys, for all I know? He's obviously not going to be playing with the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm just saying. If you look at a scheme fit guy, he can play on a 34 base or a 4-3 front. It doesn't matter. They transition to a 4-3 base, right? We all understand that under Ryan Poles coming from the Kansas City Chiefs, and how you guys know where this is going. Talked about this over and over. I mean, like I said, you got to talk about GMs. You got to talk about their personnel department, what they're trying to do. There's a lot of factors that go into it. All I'm saying is this: Roquan Smith has tapered off. Let's just go down the grades. All right. He was graded as the best off-ball linebacker in terms of pass coverage last year in my grading system. All right. But let me go ahead and talk to you guys about it. In 2020, COVID year, he graded at a 7.4. All right. 7.4 out of a 10. That's an all-pro level. First team all-pro level. All right. He graded slightly behind Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner. All right. But he came in third. In pass coverage, he was ranked number 1. In 2021, same thing applies. He's graded at his game film tapered off a little bit. He went from a 7.4 to a 6.5. All right. That's still at Pro Bowl level in my grading system. 6.5 is still really, really good. All right. And you compare that to the rest of the linebackers around the league, like Bobby Wagner, who came in at a 5.6, Devin White, who also came in at a 5.6. And then obviously we talk about Demario Davis, who we're going to talk about later in details, right? So we grade all the best off-ball linebackers in my grading system. right? And Roquan Smith ranked number 2. All right, now you go ahead and we're leaving Shaquille Leonard or Shaq Leonard out of this because obviously he's been hurt this year. So obviously Shaq Leonard last year graded as the best off-ball linebacker in my grading system, coming at an 8.2 out of a 10, which is first team All-Pro for, I don't know, forever, right? That's just unheard of. But you fast forward to 2022, right? And you look at those grades and the small sample size to pull from because not even half the season is here yet. But Roquan Smith grade out of 5.4. 5.4 for me is a borderline average player. That's online to like Chandler Jones status in terms of that type of production. Now you look at go ahead and go to the ESPN box scores. Oh, Roquan Smith ranks number 1 in tackles. Yeah, but how is he in pass coverage? How is he in his run fits? All right. So you have to look at that. And Coach McDaniels talked about people having grading systems. I have a grading system. Everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people have grading systems, right? And you have to account for the rules of engagement, right? Because you don't know what's being asked on a certain play, if it's zone versus man coverage, but you can kind of tell you can kind of tell between certain things. But then again, if you watch film, a lot of film, if you watch teams like the New Orleans Saints, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, there's certain rules of engagement based on how they play the seams. All right, I'm not going to go ahead and break that down, but I'm just telling you, you watch enough film, you can pick up on little things. And you can also pick up on signals, right? Just like in poker, you can pick up on calls. You can pick up on, what does this mean? What does this mean? I mean, I know what they mean because I watch these teams play every single game, every single snap. So these defensive coordinators better start switching up the signals. Otherwise, people like me are going to be like, if I'm seeing it, the offensive coordinators are seeing it, and they'll be like, okay, when they do this, that means that it's a cluster formation to the right. So the guy's going to play off at the boundary quarterback. And he's going to let him slip outside. And then you have to take the inside receiver if he goes this way. And if they try to run a red route, then you have to switch assignments there. See, you have to know those things. I'm not going to break down the team that does that, but it's not that hard if you watch enough game film. Come on, Kyler Murray, get your head straight. I'm joking. But I always joke around about Kyler Murray when it comes to my game film because, look, I do it for fun, and Kyler Murray gets paid millions of dollars to do this. So I don't know. It's interesting that Kyler Murray can have so much success and only watch how many hours of game, like 4 hours a game. That's mind-boggling. I can do that in not even one. I don't know. One sitting, I sat at a computer watching game film, lights off, everything, like with my ticker. No joke. Mark Page says, I seen you on Sanjit's channel and started following it, and you do a super detailed job. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, Sanjit's a good guy, man. It's funny how me and Sanjit met. We met off of Twitter. And from there, when I was covering the Niners, he was covering the Raiders. And so we just kind of played off each other, kind of collabed with each other. And here we are today, 3 years running now. So yeah, Sanjit's a good guy. He does a really good job with his game films as well. So no, I appreciate the love and support. And a lot of you guys come from the Sanjit's channel too and supporting me here in the DOB. So nothing but good vibes only here in my first year covering the Las Vegas Raiders. But I covered to be honest with you guys, I've covered the Las Vegas Raiders in the past for Fansided Network. When I worked for Fansided, I was the editor of Golden Gate Sports. And then from there, I went on and covered the Niners, covered the Raiders. I even covered Raising Zona. You guys remember the Raising Zona? I was the editor-in-chief of that page. So I covered the Arizona Cardinals. Man, I covered a lot of different teams. Pittsburgh Steelers to Sports Illustrated. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's long and distinguished. I'm joking. It's really not. I mean, once you're in the game this long, you kind of figure out different things that you want to talk about. And I was like, I want to talk about everything. So oh man, but no, thank you so much. I appreciate it. No, Josh Jacobs is going to be the real deal, right? And I think we all see that, right? 774 scrimmage yards up to this point. He's 226 yards off of 1,000 in his first 6 games. That is amazing. Those are amazing numbers. Those are like record-setting pacing numbers. He already set the record, and I tweeted out in real time that he scored 3 touchdowns. The last player to do it was him. He broke his own record, right? And so when you talk about a player scoring 4 touchdowns, because that's never been done by the Las Vegas Raiders, believe it or not. The Las Vegas Raiders, Oakland Raiders, LA Raiders, doesn't matter. The Raiders have never had a rushing. They never had a running back rush for 4 rushing touchdowns. Never had any player for that matter. Now that they're playing Taysom Hill, is he a running back? Is he a wide receiver? Is he a wide back? What the hell is he? Taysom Hill is just one of those guys, and Coach Graham talked about it. You have to allocate at least X amount of time for that package. That's a headache, man. I would hate to be a defensive coordinator and being like, you know what, we have to account for this. And then players are like, well, wait, how, like, what are the odds? We don't know. We just got to cover our bases. And if you see this, we're just going to run this base defense. All right, you take that guy. We're just going to use a scrape exchange off the zone read. All right, so we have to match up man for man on the back end, but we're going to use a scrape exchange, or we're going to use a bear front. Let's go ahead and use a bear front on this formation. If Taysom Hill is, out as quarterback, and then he goes wide, and then you don't know what's going to happen. Trick plays come into play. I don't know, man. There's some crazy crap that they do. I'm just saying, man, Taysom Hill is a gadget player and a half, and he is the Swiss Army knife in more ways than one. That's all I got to say about that. And Taysom Hill is a huge headache. Like, Taysom Hill can go off on any given day. We saw that game that he went out. What game was that where he had like 4 rushing speaking of 4 rushing touchdowns, didn't he have 4 rushing touchdowns or something like that in a game? I could be wrong, but it seemed like it was 4. The guy's just amazing sometimes. And then he disappears on other games. So I don't know. Jesse Cardenas says Raiders all day, baby. I see it. He says, salute Beast. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Raiders Saints injury report. All right, I want to go ahead and talk about this because it is very important ahead of the Saints matchup. So Davante Adams is out with a sickness or illness, what is designated as an illness. I don't know what that illness is. People are saying it's COVID. Some people are saying it's just sickness. I don't know. I don't care what it is. Actually, I do care. Hopefully he's okay, obviously. But I don't know what the exact extent. People are asking me, what is it? Is it COVID? I'm like, man, I don't know. I'm not going to get that answer. But I will say this. I will say the injury, not the injury bug, the sickness or the flu bug is going around because I got sick 2 weeks ago, and I think I got it from work. So I think it's going around. Obviously, Britton Brown was sick a little bit. He was reported on the injury report. Obviously, Josh Jacobs couldn't make the team flight, and he had to take a separate flight, so he was sick. And now we have Tayshaun Bauer out. We had Jonathan Abram out yesterday. Those guys are back today. But then you have guys like Cleve Farrell and Jonathan Abram are out. Were out yesterday. They're now back in practice today. But Tayshaun Bauer was still out along with Davante Adams. So that's kind of concerning because you look at it and you're looking at it from a perspective of, is Davante Adams going to be active on game day? I think he is. I think he's going to be active on game day. People I talked with today were saying that, he'd probably be active on game day. So I'm not concerned about Davante. Now watch him be inactive on game day. Beast said he's going to be active on game day. Then he's inactive on game day. And then everyone's going, oh, you suck, Beast. Look, I'm not no one can predict. I'm not going to predict the future. I'm just saying this is what I'm hearing. Okay. It's not like it's definite, but anyways, he's been out. Tomorrow is a good day because obviously today was a big day. I think this is where the big package day comes into play, where you kind of go through installs and everything like that. Tomorrow would be just, I would presume, just a fast walkthrough. And so when you do that and you go through some stretching and some workouts or whatever the case may be, just to have maintenance, right? You have that maintenance stage, but tomorrow will be telling. If he's limited, that'd be interesting. But again, we really don't know what's going on with Davante Adams as far as his sickness is concerned or illness and the extent of how bad that is. But I can tell you when I had it, it was pretty bad. I'm joking. I'm exaggerating. It wasn't like crazy bad, but it was bad enough to where like, I was like, man, like, well, anytime I'm sick, I'm going to stay away anyways. But let's put it this way. It was bad enough to me to take a couple of days off from the gym, and that never happens. So there you have it. But Divine Diablo. All right. Divine Diablo was out. All right. He's missed 2 practices now this week with a back and ankle injury. That is cause for concern. You guys know how high I am on Divine Diablo. He's one of the guys that I was watching throughout training camp and preseason. I said, this is a guy to watch for. He's going to lead the team in tackles. He's going to be around the football field, and he's going to be a Pro Bowl type player, right? Said this, can't say I didn't say it. It's all up there on the live stream. Well, he's been injured, and the thing about it is he's been relatively playing extremely well in my grading system. I mean, he's been playing at a Pro Bowl level his last 3, especially in pass coverage. And you really see the things that he's picking up, playing on the 3rd level back in college at Virginia Tech, now up to the 2nd level. So you see things from a different vantage point. Things are happening a lot faster. It's like in the game of baseball. If you're out in the outfield, you're kind of just picking your nose out there, chewing sunflower seeds and having a game of catch me if you can by yourself, right? But I don't know why I just said that, but it's true though. Like, I played outfield, and it's like, man, it's like, is the ball gonna come? Is it not gonna come? All I have to do is catch it. But if you're playing shortstop, second base, third base, there's a lot of action. You can't be doing those things, man. You have to have your head on the swivel. You have to be fast. You have to be agile. And you have to have the lateral agility to make a play on the ball. So Divine Diablo does those things, and he does it very well. I don't know why I said that. I thought that was funny now that I think about it. But anyways, I crack myself up sometimes. Why did I say that? Why did I say that? You guys get the picture. If you played baseball, if you played any type of sport where you're just kind of standing there and like, oh man, is the ball gonna come my way? Materia says this Wyatt Jacobs feels like McFadden Bush situation we had back in the day. Oh my God, you're going Darren McFadden? I see what you're doing. Darren McFadden and Bush situation we had back in the day. Two good backs, but not needed. Pay the man and keep Jacobs. I like it. I like that. I like that line of thinking. I think keep Jacobs. Obviously, Zeus White's on the rookie contract. You're not going to trade him. It's not going to be a Trey Sermon situation where Trey Sermon is like, if you guys don't know who Trey Sermon is, he was a third-round pick out of the Ohio State University by the San Francisco 49ers. And just couldn't get going, right? It's the same, if you want to talk about different NFL teams that had this dynamic, right? Let's talk about the Kevin Barlow situation coming out of Pitt, right? Kevin Barlow was a guy who was sharing reps with whether it be Garrison Hurst or Charlie Garner, or the case may be. So he's been a guy that, oh man, Kevin Barlow is going to be the guy, right? He's going to be the guy, right? Met Kevin Barlow. Gosh, I was back in high school then. Anyways, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be the guy. He can do this. You saw flashes, but at the end of the day, was he really better than Garrison Hurst or Charlie Garner? No, he wasn't. And the team suffered. And then obviously when Charlie Garner went to the Raiders, right, the Oakland Raiders at the time, we all saw what he did there, man. Charlie Garner, bro. That's one of my favorite running backs to watch all time. I love Charlie Garner. Give me Charlie Garner. Even though he played for Tennessee, I get it. But hey, man, Charlie Garner was a beast, man. I actually liked him better than Garrison Hurst, believe it or not. And I loved Garrison Hurst. I remember that 96-yard touchdown run in overtime against the New York Jets and Bill Parcells and Wayne Corbett and Keyshawn Johnson and all those players. Who else was on that team? Gosh, that was a good team. I think Kevin Mawai was on that team. Brian Cox, I believe, was on that team. They had Aaron Glenn, Ray Mickens. They had some players. They had some ballers on that team. But they couldn't really beat the San Francisco 49ers in overtime. That was one hell of a run. That was crazy. But no, getting back to it, let's get to your questions. Leonard Villafuerte says, do you think John Simpson will be traded? Is he in the doghouse? Look, I talked to John Simpson today in the locker room. He seems to be in good spirits. I asked how he's doing. He says he's fine. Look, I wouldn't say a guy is in the doghouse when he's not getting playing time. I just think it could be sometimes like a wake-up call, right? The coach knows your potential. He sees your potential. The GM sees your potential. He understands your potential, right? And so I think sometimes when you take a bad seat like that, you can kind of put things in perspective, because when you're in the position of a starter, you're like, oh, maybe sometimes you're settling in. It's like, yeah, there's really no competition behind me, so I can just kind of slack off. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying, but when the roles are reversed and now you have to be fighting for that starting position, that's the iron sharpens iron mentality. Look, no player is safe. And I talked about this in training camp, right? And some people were laughing like, oh, you don't know about the Raiders. No, I do. And everything checks out. Like, that's why I retweet my own tweets, because it's like, nah, I said this before they even said this. Like, iron sharpens iron. I used that same terminology before Coach McDaniels even used that terminology. I said, why behind the reasoning, right? What's the rhyme behind the reasoning, or the why? What's the why behind they do? I said it before Coach McDaniels. I'm put it out there for everyone to. I'm just saying, man. Like, you can pick up different things when you watch practice, and so again, being around different coaching staffs, being around new regimes, being around the game of football on the professional level, in terms of being in the media, you kind of see things from a different lens, and so you can kind of certain things stick in your mind, and you can kind of keep that throughout your career. And that's one of the things that I look for is, hey, look, if there's a new regime coming in, these are the checkpoints that I look for. Just like when you scout a player, these are the checkpoints that you look for. Is the team really buying into the program? Are they not? Are there certain players who kind of take plays off when coaches aren't looking their way, right? We all been in that position, right? Like, if you watch a high school football game or football practice, right? A lot of you guys play high school football at one point, right? If you don't respect the coach, I'm not saying I didn't do it, because I did. Like, if I didn't respect the coach, sorry, Coach Hermosa, but I didn't respect you, bro. And he was talking. I was just like, yeah, whatever, man. Like, I'm not buying it, dude. You can. And let me just tell you one thing. I'm not the only one that didn't buy into that freaking program. In fact, no one did. Nobody did. And he wanted us to buy into a program that was false hope. Like, I won't go into details. Anyways, bad coach, horrible coach, the worst coach all time that I had. Just saying it. Really bad. Wouldn't play me because I was a junior. He wouldn't play me because I was a junior. Literally said, you're not playing because you're a junior. There's only 5 juniors on the team. Wouldn't play us because we were juniors, even though we were better than some of the seniors. It's like, oh, well, you'll get your time next year. I was like, nope, I'm not playing with you. And I transfer schools. See ya. Kelly J says, do you think the defense lacks? I think the best people should play regardless of status quo. I don't care I don't care. I'm killing you in practice, bro, and you're a senior. They literally had whatever. There's so many stories I can go about that. It's no surprise. But I am coachable, I swear. I had a lot of coaches. That's the only one that I did not get along with, and I'm not the only one. Everybody on that team did not like him. And I mean everyone, I mean every single person. Kelly says, do you think the and the parents didn't like him either. Do you think the defense lacks talent in the backfield or execution? I think it comes down to a little bit of both, right? And I talked to Anthony Averett today for an extended period of time during an open media period inside the Raiders locker room. And, Anthony Averett gets a break from me because he's coming back from injury, right? Anytime you come back from injury, and again, if you played the game of football, basketball, or any competitive sport, you would know the difference between muscle memory and getting those mental reps, right? So physical performance is one thing, but getting it mentally is another. And I think people don't differentiate the parameters of how important it is to be both mentally and physically prepared. Look, you could be physically prepared and not mentally prepared, right? They don't line up. So again, when you have an offensive coordinator who's trying to attack you, not saying Anthony Averett, but I'm just saying attack the defense and trying to pick the soft spots of your defense based on the rules of engagement that they're trying to accomplish to kind of create mismatches, rub routes, whatever the case may be, confusion on the back end. Well, if you're coming into the situation and you're just playing a soft cover shell because it's a cover 3 and you're just playing your 1/3 of your zone and that's what you're trying to do, but then you get Fuga behind you. We all know what Fuga means. If you don't know, it's F up the gray area in my grading system, FUGA. All right. Because offensive coordinators use that. They use Fuga, right? A lot of teams use Fuga. Look, if you're not using Fuga, you're not doing your job right. Because if you're not trying to cause confusion, especially on the second level or especially down the scenes with that linebacker playing the curl flat or curl hook, or even that boundary cornerback who's playing a deep third, and then you have that boundary wide receiver kind of run in toward the numbers, but then you have someone kind of sneaking around behind them. And then it's like, oh, man, I didn't see that tight end run that corner route. Oh, shoot. That was my assignment because that single high safety was protecting the deep third in the middle of the field as an MOF. Those are the rules of engagement that Coach McDaniels was talking about in grading systems. You have to know. I'm just saying, you have to know. That's why you have to be very careful when you run grades, that you be mindful of those different tactics. Watch a lot of game film. BEASTwriter, per Tom Pelissero, Adams has the flu. Do you think he will play on Sunday? I do think Adam. Thank you so much, Brian, for your input. I do think Davante Adams will play on Sunday. I don't see that being a problem. Now watch him not play. No, but if I had to take a guess, I think he's going to be playing on Sunday. Look, if Michael Jordan can play the sick game, remember the flu game, and he hit the last second shot over Byron Russell, I'm telling you, Davante Adams has that warrior mentality. I think he'll be active on game day if I had to take a guess. Now, I don't know. That's not confirmed, obviously. That's just a guess. I think he plays. I think the guy plays. People internally, when I say internally, I spoke with other beat writers, and I talked about it today. Man, I was like, I wanted to know too, guys. And I said, hey, is Davante, you guys didn't know? I was like, is he going to play or is he not? Because, I mean, today's kind of a big day to be missing. He's like, and then one of the guys said, yeah, I think he plays. And I trust his judgment. So I think he plays. Now watch him not play. DK says, can not just have starters, have backup for every position. Yeah, that's true. Oh, look at that. We got the digital prez in the house, and he has those Raider Nation flags popping up. I like it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk about the differences between the Raiders offense and the Saints defense, right? And I want to talk about this because, again, I run grades, and it's not, obviously it's not the end-all, be-all. You can have your own grading system and watch film, but people don't have time to do that. That's why they watch here in the DOB. Look, I ran grades on DeMario Davis, ran grades on Cam Hayward, and ran grades on Tyrann Mathieu. If you're doing the math, that's all 3 levels that you're grading, right? And again, you see guys like Paulson Adebo. You see guys like Pete Werner. Gosh, I can't see. Pete Werner, right? You talk about these different guys on the football field that maybe no one really understands or no one really really goes into a deep dive. Now, you can play fantasy football, you can be an IDP league, but at the end of the day, you have to know what to look for when it comes to the rules of engagement and the schemes that are being matched up against, right? If they mirror each other, if they don't mirror each other. And when it comes to DA, Dennis Allen, not Devontae Adams, but when it comes to Dennis Allen and the way he runs things, especially on the defensive side of the football, he's very aggressive. Now, I'll be honest with you, Marshawn Lattimore to me is a little overrated. He's been out and banged up, but then Paulson Adebo can get beat. Like Paulson Adebo was a 3rd-round pick coming out of Stanford, and he's a guy that you should attack. I would attack a Paulson Adebo all day, every day. Now, Tyrann Mathieu is not being used like how he was in Kansas City, all right, under Coach Spags. So that's a huge cause for concern, because I think even though Tyrann Mathieu is graded very highly at a first-team All-Pro level in my grading system, that does cause for some concern there, because even though he's graded at 8.3, what's at a first-team All-Pro level, they're not using him as an extra box run defender that you would typically hope. And I talked to Josh Jacobs about it today and talked about Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, and yeah, he's like, those just like with Budda Baker, when I asked him about Budda Baker, because what those two safeties provide more than any other safety in the NFL. And you can add Minkah Fitzpatrick into that link. You can add that cluster of players there. Minkah Fitzpatrick, Budda Baker, Derwin James, right? Those types of guys, outside of 5 guys at the strong safety or free safety position, those guys can be interchangeable, right? So you really got to be mindful of where they are. For example, like since we're talking about the Steelers and Minkah Fitzpatrick, let's say strong safety Terrell Edmonds, right? Like that guy's a traditional box safety. I'm not hating. That's just who he is, right? He's just so you're not going to be scared of him playing in the deep half or the deep third or even covering his quarters coverage because he sucks. I hate to say it, and I don't mean to be mean, but it is what it is. I have grades. I have grades dating back to when I started covering the Steelers back in 2019. So if you want those, I got those. But there's a reason why Terrell Edmonds is a liability, on the team, and that's why you want to attack him. John Abram, right? Same thing. You want to attack him in pass coverage. Why? I'm not saying John Abram's horrible in pass coverage, but he's not very good, right? Because he's a traditional box safety. Gone are the days that's that traditional box safety where you can kind of cover that guy up, because now you see more wide receivers. And then, again, the pass happy NFL tight ends are looking more like wide receivers. There's a lot of speed on the field. So how do you counter speed with speed, right? At the end of the day, like you can be twitchy, but you have to be able to know your zone assignments, man assignments, and also make plays on the football. And so when you look at this and you look at the rules of engagement that we always talk about, the ROE, the POE, the point of emphasis, you really got to look and understand the safety position, because if you don't, you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost in the shuffle. And that's why I think it's very important for certain guys to really be interchangeable. So from a scouting perspective, as the draft rolls around and, even the trade deadline rolls around, we talk about a scheme fit, Coach Graham always talks about, is the guy a scheme fit? Can he beat his blocks one-on-one up front, right? All these different things. You have to be interchangeably be able to do both, because otherwise the quarterback is not going to be scared of you. And he's like, okay, yeah, cool story, man. This guy's showing a cover 3 look, but then odds are they're going to roll a cover 2 because they have to cover up that safety who can't cover his deep third. Oh, cool story. They're showing a cover 2. Okay, well, they're just going to drop down that strong safety because that's a strong suit. And instead of it being a simple cover 3, it's going to be a cover 3 sky or a cover 3 cloud, or it could be a cover 3 buzz, right? So it's just like there's different rules of engagement there. And so you really got to understand those different schemes and cover shells, because, again, if you understand the rules of engagement, and again, on top of those simple cover shells, there are rules of engagement that apply based on where the wide receiver, where that outside or inside receiver is going. So you have to understand those assignments, because it could be a mirror match. It could be a pattern matching downfield. It could be a zone assignment. So again, when I run these grades, you really have to be mindful of those things, because at the end of the day, you really don't know. I take that back. You kind of know. Never mind. But sometimes there's a handful of plays on any given game that you're kind of like, I don't know what's going on here. So you just don't, you have to be mindful of that. Raiders Pittman says, Averett looking slow out there. I think it comes down to his muscle memory. I think he's going to be fine this game. I tweeted out, I think he's going to have a really good game this week. So Anthony Averett, this is a guy who played really well during the preseason, right? This is roll tide roll guy. Coming from the Baltimore Ravens, right? Eric DeCastro really liked him. So, I mean, like, there's a reason why GM Jay Ziegler brought in these guys, and let's face it, like, Anthony Averett's going to be fine, right? Anthony Averett's going to be fine. I think with anything, it just comes back to muscle memory. Daniel Crespo says, live your breakdown. Oh, he likes my breakdowns. Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate it, man. It means a lot. But no, yeah, talking about the Saints defense, we talked about Demario Davis, right? He's a guy who's really, really shining in my grading system. And you talk about the best off-ball linebackers in the NFL, and it's like, oh, cool story, bro. Anybody can name drop the top players. Like you can go on NFL Network and look off the top 100 players and just pick out the players by a positional ranking. That's not how I do it. I actually run I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's, man, I mean, those top 100 pretty dang set. But some players are a little bit inflated in my position, like in my grading system, like Jalen Ramsey. Like for instance, like Jalen Ramsey is graded by, I was talking to my boy Case earlier today. PFF ranks him at an 85.7, right? So that's like an 8.5 in my grading system. Just use a decimal point. So 8.5 out of a 10. In my grading system, he's graded at like a 6.3. So there's a huge discrepancy there. And so even though Jalen Ramsey is Jalen Ramsey, he's not having a better year than Pat Surtain. Let's not get it twisted. He's not having a better year than Sauce Gardner. Let's not get it twisted. He's not having a better year than here. I'm gonna go down the grades for you. It just mind boggles me. All right, you cannot tell me that he's having a better year than Rock Yassin. Just putting that out there, even though he played one game less, he's not having a better year than Trayvon Diggs. All right, so like, yeah, he's better. Yes, he's better than AJ Terrell, right? He's been a little banged up this year. And AJ Terrell is a little bit overrated in my grading system. Same thing with Denzel Ward, even though he was an all-pro last year. I graded him he's average. He's on the same level as like a Asante Samuel Jr. in my grading system at a 5.6. All right. JC Jackson, we all know what happened here. He shouldn't have been playing probably. And look at him. He's graded poorly throughout the whole year and really basically out for the remainder of the season. But you look at the top cornerbacks around the league, and you can really tell me that Jalen Ramsey is better than Pat Surtain or Sauce Gardner through the first 8 games of this year. You're crazy. Now consistency is key. If you were to ask me who I would start a team with, no, you know what? To be honest with you, I would take Pat Surtain. Definitely, I would take Pat Surtain over Jalen Ramsey. I'm not sure I would take Jalen Ramsey, or I'm not sure I would take Sauce Gardner over Jalen Ramsey just yet because he's only a rookie. But definitely, Pat Surtain is by far the best cornerback in the NFL. Said it coming out. Even though I'm a Roll Tide Roll fan, I said he's the most fundamentally sound cornerback that I've seen come out of the draft since Ahmed Plummer. And so I'm talking about ball skills. I'm talking about being fundamentally sound. I'm not talking about everything in between, right? And so you knew what you were getting with Ahmed Plummer, right? You knew what you were getting with Ahmed Plummer. He's a fundamentally sound guy. He's not going to hurt you. Number 19 out of The Ohio State University, drafted number 24 overall, I believe, not mistaken. Fast forward to when Pat Surtain was drafted, I covered him at Alabama for Hot Mike, right? So I covered this guy, legacy, father played for the Miami Dolphins along with Sam Madison, yada, 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 right? And I was like, man, this guy is going to be arguably the best cornerback to come out in years. He's going to be a Pro Bowl player from day one, and he was. In my grading system, he was. I mean, graded at a 7.5, which is better than the first team All-Pro level. And then this year he's graded at 8.3, which tops the league. So I don't know. Brian says, glad I found your channel. Awesome show, man. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. And like I said, it means a lot. Look, when I go on these live streams, we've been on for 52 minutes and 45 seconds and counting. You're not watching for the 52 minutes and 50 seconds or 45 seconds that I'm on the show. You're paying for you're watching it for the countless hours of game film that I watch day in and day out. Literally, I watch hours of game film. And so like, I like doing that, like forming my grades, having a grading system, because again, if you're going to have the decency to praise a player or criticize a player, you better have the respect of the player to grade that player's every single snap. Like you better sit down in your chair, sit in front of a computer and actually do the work. Whether you're right or wrong, at least you give that player respect, right? Because I don't like just going to the box scores and be like, oh, he had 4.5 sacks today. Like, wow, he must be a Pro Bowl player at the end of the year because he racked up 13.5 sacks. And it's like, nah, man, like who created those sacks? Like, were those sacks coverage sacks? Were those sacks made by opposing team's top player like Aaron Donald, Cam Jordan, Cam Hayward, right? Alex Highsmith's eaten, right? But I like, to be honest with you, I liked Alex Highsmith. Go check the DOB Beast receipts on that. I like Alex Highsmith coming out as a 3rd-round pick. I knew he was going to be replacing Bud Dupree, who went down to a torn ACL against the Baltimore Ravens. I said Alex Highsmith is going to have no drop-off in production in 2 years' time. He's going to be a Pro Bowl type player. Here he is. He's like top 10 in sacks this year. So I saw this forthcoming 2 years ago. No surprise here. Alex Highsmith, number 56. You guys don't know what he's all about. He's been working on his get off since his rookie year. And what you really want to look off the get off is you want to read your keys, right? You talk about players reading your keys. And so for young players, that's what you want to do, because again, when everyone's on the same wavelength in terms of skills, right? Everybody is a good football player, right? But then it comes down to technique, and then it comes down to film study. So again, reading your keys is based on down and distance and knowing where your help is and understanding how to maybe use what you have in your toolbox or tool set in terms of the pass rush, because if you use an inside spin or a rip or whatever, and then you don't want to get in outside leverage, because what if it's a run instead of a pass play? What if it's an RPO as opposed to something else? So I don't know. Daniel says PFF is arbitrary. It is. It's weird. Sean says football IQ, I think, is easy for the casual fan to understand how complex NFL systems are. In year one of the new system, players are going to look slow. That is very true, Sean. Sean, that is 100% true. And that's why, and Coach Harbaugh always told me, and I would talk to Coach Harbaugh, on a pretty regular basis in terms of, what do you look for? Because we all know Coach Harbaugh is a great coach. Let's not get it twisted. He's a very, very good coach. And so I always wanted to pick his brain on that. And I said, how do you really gauge a player? And he always told me, going from year one to year two, that's where you really gauge a player. Because think about it. In your first year, you're just learning the NFL game, right? You're just learning how to. In college, it's a lot different, right? The program's a lot different. The daily routine and daily grind's a lot different. In the NFL, it's a different ballgame. So again, just getting acclimated to that process mentally. We're not talking about the physical side on Sundays. We're talking about the mental aspect of it. Once you kind of get into that groove and in that rhythm, year two is where you're really going to see that leap. And so, Coach Belichick talks about it all the time. And so does Coach McDaniels. So again, the greatest coaches of, in my opinion, ever are saying these things that year one to year two is where you're going to see the greatest growth. And so that's why Alex Leatherwood maybe is on the chopping block, because, they didn't see much in Alex Leatherwood. And I don't blame him, because to be honest with you, I didn't see much anyways. But I always thought he was an offensive guard. Said it when he was drafted. I said, man, this guy's going to be a really good guard. He's not an offensive tackle. You should kick him inside the guard. Beast receipts check out. That's what I said. People are like, you really said that? I really said it. Type in Alex Leatherwood BEASTwriter, or just go to my channel and look at my draft grades when it comes to Las Vegas Raiders back in 2021. Although I did, the funny thing is I thought they were going to go after Jamin Davis. That's not who I wanted to select, but that's not who I thought Mayock was going to select. Sean says it takes a solid year for players to get out of their heads and speed up. Yep, there you go. There you go. My man Daniel Kim's in the house. How you doing? We have moderators. He's one of my moderators. This is my guy right here. Daniel Kim's one of my guys. Sean, Brian, all you guys. Who else we got in here? We got hell of people in here. I'm just joking. We got hell of people. It's like 4 people. I'm joking. It's more than 4 people. We have 33 people watching on my end. Raiders Pernod says, salute. I wonder where you guys are from. Where are you guys? Daniel Kiss says, we need to get you in some Raiders gear, Pyramid style. Look, what's funny is I have my own DOB gear that we're going to be launching. So my Dark Side of BEASTwriter swag is going to be up for sale. Just joking. Not sounds like a house up for sale. No, we're going to be launching our merch though, real talk. And so we're going to be launching a lot of that. And again, all our stuff is made in Design US. You guys know in the DOB, how we do it here is we have t-shirts and everything's designed made by yours truly. And what I'll do is I'll run giveaways for those as a thank you for all you guys just for subscribing to my channel or following me on social media. So again, like I said, it all gets funneled back into the DOB because without you guys, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So we're going to be launching a lot of that stuff. If you guys don't know, I have a clothing line called Bay Area Rooted. It's my company. That's another thing that I do aside from personal training, online coaching, and everything in between. So we do a lot of things here in the DOB other than just covering football. Although it seems like we just cover football all day, but no, my life is consumed with work and I love it. Isn't that weird? My life is consumed with work and I love it. Like, who says that? That should be the name of a shirt. My life is consumed by work. And then on the back, it says, I love it. And people are like, what? This guy's a weirdo. They're like, what do you do, man, that you love your work? Like, and that'll be an icebreaker for all you guys. I should wear that, right? Like literally, if I go out, on the strip or something and just be like, my life is consumed by work and I love it. And then have the DOB logo on it. People are like, what the heck? What is that? What a weird guy. No, but I really do love my work. Why do all the other, and you guys make it fun. That's why I love it. Why do all the other Raider beat writers know so little about football? I'm not saying they don't, man. I think beat writers know a lot about football. Yeah, I can't answer that, but I do know that a lot of them do. I don't know which ones are you talking about, but I don't know. But my guy, What's Up G in here says, everyone hit the like button and subscribe to all social media. We got my guy, What's Up G. He's also a mod in here. Been with me since day one. It's a funny story. I met What's Up G through here on YouTube. Literally no joke. I met through What's Up G here on YouTube. It was during COVID, and we became good friends. It's crazy how YouTube brings us together. It's really crazy. And then from that point, I'm not joking. This is a true story. And just so you guys know, I am very, very, people will call me, what's the word? Spontaneous. So till this day, Jeff has been one of my best friends, and he came over to my house one time during COVID, or was it during COVID? It wasn't during COVID. It was after COVID, obviously. It was after COVID. It was like 6 months ago or something like that, right? Or was it 8 months ago? 6 to 8 months ago. Anyways, yeah, we became good friends. That's how we are. And so like he's been a moderator for this channel ever since. And so he's keeping out the trolls along with Daniel Kim, along with a few others. So if you want to be a moderator for the channel, I would definitely greatly appreciate that, because the more the merrier. Because like I said, as we continue to grow, we're gonna get those haters in here, and they're gonna want to try to bring down the channel. And we don't want that, man. It's all about the good vibes only here in the DOB. We got my guy, Dennis, in the house. He says, California in the house. Yeah, California dreaming. There we go. Like it. Daniel Crusher says, Los Angeles, hashtag Raider Nation. LV Maximus says, if you love work, it's not work. That is true. If you love your job, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And as cliche as that sounds, it's 100% true. Look, like I said, I am in a very fortunate situation to be in the position I am today, because like I said, like you guys make this what it is. Like not me. I may be driving the content, but you guys are the ones that are keeping the content alive. Like you guys are motivating me to stay on here now that we're past an hour now. Like if you guys weren't here, I'd be talking to myself, and then the stream would have been ended probably like half an hour ago. So the fact that you guys are asking questions, engaging with us here in the DOB, and that's why I like YouTube. That's why I like Twitter, and all these, not so much Facebook. I'm joking. No, kind of not joking though. Instagram really screws up, man. I'm telling you, Facebook owned by Instagram, right? Same crap. Where's my phone? My phone is over here. I'm telling you right now, I'm not joking. I cannot do reels, and every time I hashtag or at Instagram for business, and then I tag them in my story, obviously the post goes up and everything's fine and dandy, but then I have to do that every time. For some reason, they limit what I can post. And it's like, nah, man, it's not nothing bad or negative. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's just posting videos of the interviews. And it's like, oh, thank God for YouTube. Thank God for Twitter, because they don't restrict me on posting Coach McDaniel's videos or player coach videos or practice videos or anything like that, or live streams. Like, what are we doing, Instagram and Facebook? I'm not just trying to call you out, but I am calling you out, because it is annoying that I have to at Instagram for business before you guys can approve my post. Then they have a robot says, what can we help you with? I will not, literally, if you follow me on Instagram, all my social media, by the way, is linked in the live stream below. So in the description box below, if you're watching on YouTube, all my social media is there. You guys can follow me there. And I am not joking. Every day I have to put up a story, true story, right? No pun intended, but it is a true story. The day in the life of Beast. Holy crap, man. Like I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling how, and it's frustrating at the same time, because again, when you're the one-man show and doing you're the light check guy, you're the sound check guy, you're the live stream guy, you're the content creator, you're the photographer, you're the video editing person, you're the content creator, it takes a toll on you. And then you have to, how come my reels aren't posting? Maybe if I just at Instagram for business, and then they get back to me, and all of a sudden, boom, it posts. It's not by coincidence, guys. It's annoying. But if you follow me on social media, go ahead and do so. All my social media, people are asking how you can find me other than the social media outlet that you're on, or platform that you're on. It's in the description box here on YouTube. So I am on Facebook at Dark Side of BEASTwriter. You can follow me there. And again, the Facebook group and the Facebook page is on there. Spread the word to all your family and friends. Also share the video. If you guys like what we have to say here, give it a thumbs up. There's 29 of you guys watching, and you guys have been watching for a while now. So again, the donations help on the super chats and super stickers. But if you're unable to send me a super chat or super sticker and support the love here in the DOB, you guys can support the love in other ways, and it's free. It's just give this video a thumbs up. So again, that will push the algorithm to YouTube to more people like yourselves and say, hey, look, this will be a recommended video, because odds are if you like it, someone else that has that shares the same interest as you will like it too. That's just how it works, guys. Just saying. So it would do me a solid if you guys give this video a thumbs up and also engage with me in the comment section. Also, there is a money icon. You guys can send me a super chat or super sticker post live stream as well. It's called the Super Thanks, and Daniel Kim did one. I got my first Super Thanks from you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and talk to some things. All right, so Daniel Kempo says, got to run. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. My man Daniel Kim, speaking of my man Daniel Kim, he says, how do you think we're going to attack NOLA, and what do we have to take away from them when we're on D? Look, I think there's going to be a lot of gadget BS going on. And I call it BS because it's not really BS, but it's kind of like, gosh, dang it, Taysom Hill. I think what they need to do is use a scrape exchange every time Taysom Hill is in there. And a scrape exchange is when you cover up that running back and take the guesswork out of it, where that second level backer will take on that flowing quarterback, running back, H-back, whatever the case may be. This is Taysom Hill. And then you take on that player. Because if there's any fuga involved or confusion involved and anything like that, when Taysom Hill's in the lineup, you're going to be in a bind, right? And you're going to be caught out of position a lot of times more than not, especially when you're trying to get out there in space that Taysom Hill likes to do. So again, what I would like to do is I like to shrink those interior defensive linemen up one-on-one against the guard, kind of like showing kind of like a bare front, right? Kind of like clogging up the middle and forcing Taysom Hill to run outside. Now, the thing about it is they can run outside, inside zone how they see fit. The question remains to be seen if those second level backers, and Divine Diablo is a huge part of this, because if he's not active on game day, which I think he'll be questionable if I had to take a guess, but if he's not active on game day, that's going to leave a lot of bind and a lot of speed on that second level. And again, against a guy like Taysom Hill or Alvin Kamara, it really puts a bind on your second level backers, because I do like Denzel Perryman, but let's be honest with this. If I was to choose between Jaron Brown and Divine Diablo, it's not even close. It's not even, it's no brainer for me. So yeah, Jayon Brown, who's dealing with a hamstring injury, was limited today. He's probably going to be active on game day. But at the end of the day, you really, if you're going to be playing that 4-2-5 nickel defense alignment or 3-3-5 stack, whatever the case may be, you really want to solidify the run, because, again, it all starts up front, and you have to win your one-on-one battles down in the trenches that Coach Graham likes to do. So it's going to be challenging, but I think the Raiders have the horses to do it. How they go about doing so, that remains to be seen, but I would like to use that kind of schematic up front. That makes sense. Xavier Factor says, Beast Dub, do you think Foster Moreau has a lot of upside? I personally, I like Foster Moreau a lot. I said it during the preseason and training camp, and people were laughing. Actually, to be honest with you, people were laughing. Oh, you're new to the Raiders. Foster Moreau sucks. He couldn't do anything when Darren Waller. I was like, you don't know who I am, do you? Because I've been running grades on all 32 NFL teams, because even though I'm new covering the team, doesn't matter, I'm new covering the Raiders. And so anyways, Foster Moreau, I like him. Always did. Go check the Beast receipts. Think this guy's a stud. Think this guy is the real deal. I like his toughness. However, he's been a little banged up, right? So are we truly convinced that this guy can stay healthy for a full 17-game schedule now and a deep playoff run? You got to look at those factors, because let's be honest, you're not banking on a guy's 17-game regular season schedule to be healthy. You're thinking of that deep playoff run. Otherwise, why be in the business? You're not like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are like, oh, let's just play the season out and then, oh, whatever happens, because I really don't care. Like, I'm just joking about that, obviously, because Jacksonville Jaguars fans are like, oh, that sucks. Duval, oh my gosh. I feel bad for Jacksonville Jaguars fans, though, for real, though. Like, for real. Like, yeah, you got Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence, and so forth, but, I don't know, man. You guys are in trouble. But the Jacksonville Jaguars have improved this year. I'll say that. They will cover a lot of spreads this year, just like the Atlanta Falcons. Regis Benoit says Elon Musk taking over Twitter. I love that. I love this. He's taking over Twitter. That's a good move. I like Elon. Elon Musk. He's awesome. Smart. What's up, Jesus? Tell everyone how to pre-order DOB swag. Yeah, you can pre-order. Basically, we're taking payments through Venmo right now. So my Venmo is actually in the description box below. I will set up the pricing on the community page up on YouTube and my other social media outlets. I am looking for a vendor to make good quality shirts. I haven't found one yet. I got recommendations. Unfortunately, those recommendations fell through because I had them test out a shirt and it was crap. I'm not going to name drop that company because that's not how I do it here, but that's kind of effed up. But I will say this, I'm all about quality. And so I want the best quality. And so when you have the DOB shirt on, you know it's the best quality. You know you're buying a shirt that's going to last you 5 to 10 years, not 1 to 2. And so that's what I'm about. And so I'm looking for a vendor here in Las Vegas area. So if you know anyone, recommend them. I'm going to go ahead and set a sample size. We can do a sample size quote, and then we can get that out there for you guys. So yeah, I'm going to set that up. But if you want to donate to the channel and you guys don't want to do it on YouTube or any other platform, I do have a Venmo. So my Venmo is linked in the description box of my YouTube channels, every single YouTube channel for that matter, and as well as my social media. So you guys can follow me on Twitter at BEASTwriter. You can follow me at YouTube at BEASTwriter. Facebook, it's Dark Side of BEASTwriter. And then also my Venmo is attached there as well. So yeah, it's nothing but good vibes here. And the more we get, like I said, the more there's a lot of cool things. Like we can make decals for hydro flasks and cell phones and stuff. There's a lot of different things I like to do. And we're going to get that out to you guys. You know, to be honest with you, now that I'm thinking of it, we can start off with the decals and stickers because I do have a vendor for that. And those are going to be pretty dope. I know those are going to be hot, actually. I might do that today after I get off this live stream and just make some, place that order in. So you guys just give me an idea. But no, thank you so much, everyone. And people are asking me, how can I support the DOB? Look, you're going to get something in return if you get a DOB swag. And merchandise. We're coming out with sweaters, beanies, hats, you name it, and everything's as far as the hats and beanies and shirts, they're all unisex and it's all good quality stuff. So I'm fairly confident you will be happy with the product because, as you guys know, I have Bay Area Rooted LLC, and that always does well. So there you have it. The same quality you should expect from Bay Area Rooted is the same quality you should expect from the DOB. Yeah. All right. So Daniel says, I'm definitely in for DOB gear. Raiders Pinoy says, if Foster can take his game to the next level, then I think the Raiders can trade Waller for some picks. Hey, look, I'm not opposed to that. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they just gave Darren Waller a huge contract. I don't know if he's going to get moved or if he's not going to get moved, but I can see it happening. Not saying it's going to happen. I mean, it's a long shot it's almost like a pipe dream for it to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't be surprised because they do have to make a move. I mean, there's other moving parts that go into this. Raiders Pinoy says a local company here called Hit and Skins. All right, I'm going to check out Hit and Skins. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say, Raiders Pinoy told me about Hit and Skins. I'm going to look at that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And they do quality work, right? Hopefully they do quality work. Salvatore Bruno says, BEASTwriter, what is your priority for free agency pickup, secondary or linebacker help? I think it's the offensive line. I think they should go after and target Jack Conklin. I said it last week. I'm going to say it this week. That's my number one target in free agency, the right tackle from the Cleveland Browns, obviously drafted by the Tennessee Titans. He has that tough, physical, fundamentally sound game, true technician, student of the game, no drop off in the cultural identity that the Raiders are trying to instill. He's a veteran. He can solidify the right side with Colton Miller solidifying the left side. I think that's your best bet, especially if you're going to be using a shining new running back, draft day reference, in Zeus White. If Josh Jacobs doesn't return, you're going to need an offensive line that can kind of sustain Zeus White's success. And I think in doing so, you're going to have to solidify the offensive line. Now, that's not taking away from Thayer Munford. That's not taking away anything from Jermaine Lenore. That's just keeping it 100 in that Jack Conklin is on a different level. And he's an unrestricted free agent. So that's my best bet. When it comes to the secondary, I like the draft. There's some draft prospects that I've been grading. Yes, I grade college film because when the draft rolls around, I want to know what I'm talking about. And so I have my big board, and I'll release that later on as the year goes on. But as of now, I'm going to stick to it when it comes to the NFL free agency. Now, again, we're going to have surprise cuts, right? Every year we have these surprise cuts, and who's going to get cut, who's going to get released based on the salary cap, who's not going to want to restructure their deals in the form of a signing bonus spread over the lifelong of the contract of the remaining years left on that contract. All that plays a role in exactly who is going to be available in free agency, because that pool gets bigger once the financials come into play. And so when you look at it from a GM perspective and a pro personnel perspective, you really have to look at the snapshots, right? I call them snapshots because, again, you have to have a list of targeted players that you want, but then you also have to have a plan B option and a plan C option in case those plans don't go accordingly. Because let's say that player doesn't want to go to Las Vegas. Let's say he's like, you know what, I want to, yeah, I know you have no income tax, but I want this, I want to be under this scheme. I want to play under, trust me, I know, because I know how it works. Like, I've been around the league a long time. So I remember a 49ers defensive back, good friend of mine. He was on the Tennessee Titans. Well, I'm not gonna name the teams. Take that. I'm not gonna name the teams that he went to and from. But let's just say this: he was in a different scheme, and negotiations broke off when they wanted to play a certain scheme. And he's like, "That's not me. I'm not gonna do that." So there's that. All right. Reg Pornoy says, check him out, Beast. I definitely will, man. Daniel Kim says, do you think we get secondary and or DB help? That is a great question, man. Like I said, man, I think they're going to get both, obviously. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what's available. And so if you're looking from GM Dave Ziegler's perspective, I think they're pretty content. Rock Ya-Sin is graded at a Pro Bowl level, my grading system. Nate Hobbs is injured. He's going to be coming back from injury. Amik Robertson's been getting some good live reps, arguably made the most big plays outside of Duron Harmon. And I love Duron Harmon, by the way. One of my favorite guys. Duron Harmon is a beast both on and off the football field. I just love Duron Harmon. I love talking to that guy. That guy gets it. But Duron Harmon's awesome. Amir Abdullah is awesome. These guys are just awesome. Someone asked me the other day, who are my favorite Raiders to interview? And I said, Josh Jacobs, obviously one. I'm being biased, but Josh Jacobs is good. I like Duron Harmon. I like Amir Abdullah. I like everyone, obviously, but those guys kind of stand out. Alex Bars is good. Dylan Parham's really good, very smart, gets it. I like talking to those types of players who really there's just, I don't know, they're just fun to talk to. Who else is there? Obviously, Divine Diablo is one of my favorites to talk to. I like him, talking to him. Yeah, there's a lot of guys on there that are just like good to talk to. Offensive line is always good to talk to. They always joke around with me. We always talk about food gains and stuff like that, but no, it's funny. There's a lot of people in there that are just good people in general, both on and off the football field. Very, very, very good locker room there. All right. So, okay. Raiders Pinoy says Frankie is the owner of that shop. All right. I'm going to check it out, man. Daniel says, not that the Raiders front office will leak anything, but are there really any movement on rumors on possible trades? Conklin. Look, I think Conklin could be a real deal. And I said Jack Conklin's name 2 weeks ago. That's not because anything I was hearing. I mean, I'm still new, right? So I'm fresh meat, if you will. Still learning the ropes. But if I had to take a guess, I think Jack Conklin will be high on their list because he gets it. He embodies the Raider way. If he was signed, I can always see how that press conference is going to go. Oh, Jack Conklin is an experienced experienced right tackle. He understands the game. He's a true student of the game. He's very fundamentally sound. He's very tough, very physical, embodies what we're looking for in the right tackle position. And we think that he's going to be a perfect fit for Coach McDaniels. And then here's Coach McDaniels is going to echo that analysis and say, well, the thing we really liked about Jack Conklin is that he's a tough, hard-nosed football player, and it's true. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not true. And Jack Conklin would be I would love Jack Conklin in a silver and black uniform. I'm just saying, Jack Conklin's one of my favorite. There's a reason why I voted Jack Conklin for first team All-Pro as a member of the Pro Football Writers Association. Yes, that was my choice for right tackle. He got my first team All-Pro vote. Proof's in the pudding. I like Jack Conklin in more ways than one. And how was I supposed to know that I was covering the Raiders the following year? I didn't, right? I was a free agent last year. So just like Jack Conklin will be this year. Yeah. All right. So Raiders Pinoy says, I think the D line needs to bolster up the middle to give them a more pressure to give them more pressure to the quarterback. Yeah. Salvador says Delaney Walker, blink twice if he is who you were talking about. I love Delaney Walker. Delaney Walker, a good dude, man. He's a good dude. It's not Delaney Walker, but no, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. True professional. Yeah. Daniel Kim says, if we get Conklin, it'll really help Mumford's development. Maybe he can be our swing tackle. Well, that's a good Daniel. You have some good analysis here, man. That's a good talking point right there. That's a good conversation to have a good discussion to have at the bar, right? I think that'd be perfect. Now, Thayer Mumford, I really like. I'm really high on Thayer Mumford. I'm not saying he's going to be the next great thing since sliced bread or anything like that, but I think I do like the skill set that he brings to the. I do like Thayer a lot. I think there's a lot to work with there. It's the same things that I saw with Trent Brown coming out as a 7th round draft pick out of Florida. I see the same similarities and parallels in their games in terms of what they bring to the table. So that's why maybe I'm higher on Thayer Mumford than some of these other people that cover the team. But I really like Thayer Mumford a lot. I think he has a lot of experience in terms of getting those big Power 5 conference starting experience. I think that's huge. I think a lot of that gets overlooked a lot of times because, again, when you come from a Power 5 conference, especially in the Big Ten like that, you're going up against really NFL talent, right? These players that you're matched up against are usually not one-offs. They're usually one-to-ones, right? And you're going to see those battles. And that's why these GMs and pro player personnel departments, whether it be the assistant GM or the national scout or regional director of scouting or whatever the case may be, whatever you want to call them, that's why they really like going after these Power 5 guys, because when you see a one-to-one talent, NFL versus NFL talent, you're not projecting a guy from like a guy like Delaware, no pun intended, but not saying Delaware is not a good school. I mean, like, let's just face it, or like a guy from the FBS, right, as opposed to FCS, right? So it's just like there's a huge discrepancy there when projecting talent. And it's already hard enough to project talent at the next level, but when you have players on that same wavelength, you can kind of make an easier projection there. So that's why I think Thayer Mumford is one of the more underrated guys that you shouldn't really miscount or miscalculate on how well he can be, because he does have the skill sets that I like for that right tackle position. And I'm really eager to see how he transitions from year 1 to year 2. Year 1 for me is just, I'm going to wipe that year clean, because he's a rookie. And again, like I said earlier on this live stream, when you talk to Coach Harbaugh, you want to see how and Coach McDaniels, says the same thing. You want to see how they project from year 1 to year 2. So I talked about year 1 to year 2 with Christian Barmore when Bill Belichick had that joint practice, and that was up on the live stream, and that got a lot of good feedback. And he said year 1 from year 2, no surprise here in the DOB. That's why I asked about Christian Barmore, because I knew he was going to go that route. Just joking, I didn't know. That's like a Jedi mind trick. Nah, I kind of did though. Roll Tide Roll. Raiders Pinoy says, Brother Pinoy, Josh Jacobs is cooking. Raiders might want to tag him if the Raiders can't re-sign him. Yeah, give him the transition tag, not the franchise tag. I get it. And it comes a little bit cheaper. Top 10 salaries instead of top 5. I would be down with that. Deanna Kiss, I think he's definitely going to get tagged if he makes it through the season unscathed. Knock on wood. There you go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. We are about to wrap this show up. Thank you so much, everyone, for the super chat and super stickers. This has been a really, really good stream that we had going on. I am thankful for all the moderators that came in here. What's up, D? Daniel? Thank you so much, everyone, for the super chats. Sean, you've been nothing but great and bringing good vibes only here in the DOB. I just want to say thank you for you and supporting the DOB. Also, Materian, thank you so much for the super chat and this live stream. And again, if you're unable to send a super chat or a super sticker, be sure to just give this video a thumbs up. That way it will help me and help the DOB grow, because if you like it, odds are someone else that share the same interest will like it too, and YouTube will then recommend that video to others who share the similar interests. So again, thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to the channel, and if you have yet to do so, please do so in the lower right hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Also, last but not least, in every video, whether it be a live stream or a static video, in the description box here on YouTube, all my social media is posted below. So be sure to follow me on those social media outlets, because I may not post up on here and may be posting on one of those other social media outlets that you're already on. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, I'm all on the big ones. TikTok, it's all on there, all right? Twitch, you guys name it. So I'm on every social media outlet you can think of. Be sure to follow me so you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time when it comes to football and fitness, because that's what we do here in the DOB. Thank you, everyone, so for tuning in to this live stream. I had a lot of fun. It's been nothing but good vibes only here in the DOB. And again, without you guys, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. So again, thank you so much. And nothing but good vibes only here in the dark side of BEASTwriter. Stay tuned for the next live stream Pick 6 segment. I'll be wrapping around on the turnaround tomorrow for Aloha Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.